according to the according to the cloud, and we will admit the people to the Zoom room, coming into the Zoom room. I don't have a song to sing again, you guys. Hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. What's up, Luke? Great to see you. Hey, Tim. Great to see you again. Okay, what John with my trusted John and his red wall behind him. It's just like it grounds me. I know it's there. Hello, everybody. Oh my gosh, Dina is with us. Heck yes. See, I said heck yes. Good morning to my West Coast people. Good afternoon to my East Coast folks. Hello. Gettys, you are driving. You better be safe, okay? Because, we need you safe. So, all right. Or maybe you're just in a passenger seat. Can't tell. Hello to Tom. Welcome, welcome, everybody. The Zoom room is open. It's 10:01 in LA. It is 1:01 in New York. To my Zoom. I never know my left from right. This would be my Zoom right. We have David Goldberg, Chief Edge Officer. Hello, David. How are you today?
I'm good. You question your left and right. I think every single ask me anything, right? I'm sure some of you people out here have heard that.
It's because
Here's Siobhán to my Zoom. Is that my left or right? But it makes sense, right? Because it's not just a mirror image. It's like a double or even tri-mirror image. You're looking into your camera, into Zoom. Who knows what, it's crazy.
It's true. And when I was a dancer in school, when I was a young thing, I would tie a red ribbon around my right ankle to just, so I wouldn't have to think about it. There it is. That's my right foot. So,
So let's talk about the more important things while we're waiting for everyone else to come on. Did anyone see on CNN, there was a quick interview with Tony Orlando?
No.
Oh my goodness, he doesn't look like Tony Orlando anymore. It was shocking. I won't say what he looked like, but he did not look the same. He has not aged very well. I'm not sure if I should say that when we're being recorded. I love his music. I thought he and Cher, they were all great, but it's interesting. And the reason that came to mind, Siobhán, is because you just talked about the red ribbon, and he was talking about the yellow ribbon, which some of you may know some of you are giving me thumbs up. Yeah. So
They know. I don't know what
not just the song, but like that's come back into the news right now. So
I don't know what we're talking about right now, David.
well,
Who's
who is Tony Orlando? Is that the question?
Yeah. Tim is upset, but I don't know who that is.
Well, there was Sonny and Cher.
I know Sonny and Cher.
Right. Okay. And then who wants to sing for us? I can't sing.
No,
Luke is raising his hand. You want to run?
Luke, do you know the song?
The song. The songs, plural.
No.
I'll send you some links later, Yvonne.
Okay. Oh boy, knock 3 times. I'll have to really think about this. All right, everyone. Welcome, welcome. It's November 18th. Next week is a holiday for those of us in the US. And that's wild. I'm just like, I feel like I've just been like gobsmacked by the end of the year. I don't know if anybody else is like, whoa. And oh, the tie. Okay, people, David, you've got a lot of support in the chat, so you're not alone here with Tony Orlando. I'm gonna Spotify this, and I'm sure I'll be like, oh my gosh, David, I know exactly what you're talking about. Hi everyone. My name is Siobhán. I think we're pretty much a space of OGs in this sesh right now. I am your Zoom host for this next hour, and you might be like, oh no, or maybe you're like, yes. For your Zoom experience, in your upper right hand corner, you've got a view button. You can gallery it. I like to have the gallery to see my people in their spaces. You can also speaker mode if you want to blow up your people who are talking. That would be me and David Goldberg, who, like Sonny and Cher, they had a variety show. Oh, I was just thinking about those variety shows, like Carol Burnett, and I was just like, that was such a thing that is like not a thing anymore. I was thinking about that. That was one of my things as I was mopping the floor. Sometimes I do that. So, David, how are you? How's everything going for you today on this, mid-November afternoon? How are you?
It's great. I just finished a really very interesting presentation, a 3-day presentation to a group in Washington, D.C. I can't say who it is, but 3 days of intense e-learning training. It was super cool. A group of 32 narrators who narrate for one department of the government. And yeah, it concluded today, just about a half hour ago or hour ago, and it was great. Um, yeah, everything is good. And Siobhán, how are you?
That's so awesome, David. That's also a busy day for you. I like that you're just like one thing to the next. The modern world allows us to do that, which I really enjoy. Um, everybody,
Not that busy.
that, that feels busy to go from a training that ended a half hour ago and then back on the Zooms. I don't know. Some people have Zoom fatigue. I, however, have Zoom stamina. So, it's fine with me. So does Michael. Michael's down. I'm doing fine. I'm like excited for a new year. I don't know. I feel like it's like December is always so crazy and I'm looking forward to it. And I'm also just like looking forward to making plans and thinking about the future. We're trying to be that way. We're trying to be positive in this moment we live in. So, everybody, how this is gonna work is most people I think know the deal. We've got the chat. The chat is where we hang out and we make jokes, and also where we ask questions. You could give us a shout and chat each other and drop links to cool things that as pertain to the things we're talking about. And just drop your questions. It's just me and David today. And by just, you should never say just. I mean, luckily it's me and David. I know. Thank you, Tim. My acting teacher said that. He was like, you're never just doing anything. You're always actively doing. It's not like, oh, I was just asking if no, I am asking if I can, you know, have a cookie. If anyone wants to send me some, that would be great. Obviously, I don't really need sugar though, so maybe not. But let's get this going. Michael, how are you? You're eating a snack? Okay. David, Michael is asking, when auditioning, how much editing should be done? How much is too much and noticeable when you to submit an audition?
You will never get the same answer twice. There are so many factors. It depends on the client. It depends on who is sending you the audition. Ultimately, you need to make sure that you look good to the caster or whoever's casting or the casting team. So if the casting team is dealing with lots of auditions that are probably going to be processed and edited and really well put together, then you better match that quality. That said, there are some casters out there who can sort of hear through unprocessed audio and unedited audio and say, you know what, I think they can realize that once edited and processed, it's going to sound kick ass. But then there are some clients who can't do that. They don't have the expertise to do that or the experience to do that. So, for example, we've sent auditions to clients over the years that we thought knew what they were doing, or maybe they sent that job to an intern who didn't know what they were doing. And so a voice actor may have a low level just because they haven't hit the normalized button or the compression, or they haven't compressed their audio. But the person casting doesn't know that the audio can be brought up, and so they think, well, this person's level is too low, so that's not going to fly. It just doesn't sound as good as others. So I think if you're unsure, better safe than sorry. I think it's better to process and edit. If you want, you can send two takes. I think that that's always an interesting thing to do. You can say, look, take one is raw, unprocessed audio. So you know what you can do, how you can fix it. Number two is what I can do to it to spice it up and make it sound awesome. So, take some work off of you. I think that would be a great idea.
Mm, mm. Good things to think about. Yeah, a constant development, I guess, of like how you're doing these things. But and I appreciate that David says you'll never get the same answer twice. um, I am looking through the chat. I'm seeing that Getty is talking about today building up his LinkedIn profile, customizing his website, and working on his reel. I just want to say that as a LinkedIn advocate, that I am glad you're building it up, and I personally have booked work from LinkedIn connections, and LinkedIn is a great way to get your feedback going. So I've had people when I've worked with them say like, "Oh my gosh, I loved working with you. It was so great. Like, I wish I could leave you a Yelp review." And I respond, "Well, I don't have a Yelp, obviously, but I do have a LinkedIn, and you can leave a review of me and my services there. And that is a wonderfully professional place where clients can very easily submit reviews, and you can even request for them to review you." So you can do that on LinkedIn. And I highly recommend it because then you've got all your testimonials in one professional spot. It's easy to find, it's easy to go back to. You can pull those to put on your website. Social media, my people. So, okay, let's keep it going. Hey, Jean, what is up? How are you? Hello. Good day to you, my friend. Jean is asking, what is a good way to get sample files from home studio critiqued or evaluated for proper quality? It's a good question, David. What's your response?
Send them to me. I'll be honest, I'll be candid with anyone. I mean, it costs, right? But we have a service at Edge. We have a service where you can send an audio clip and we'll review it and give you some honest feedback.
Yeah, my answer to that is two things. The first thing is yes, we will work with you, and it does cost money, obviously. But we will work with you as much as you need to get your home studio where you need it to be. Your other option, of course, is to build your communities out and talk to each other. And we have a Edge Studio Facebook group. I should go back into that and see how everybody's doing there. But connect with your people on social platforms and talk to each other too. That's another way that you can get help and see how you all are doing. But obviously, people who professionally do this, I think, are to be trusted, and it's worth it. I had a mentor tell me once back in the day. He was like, when have you ever bought something and been like, this is a wonderful thing that I bought. Like, I so regret the money that I spent. And I think that that's such a good way of like looking at things when you pay for someone's services and they give you, as David said, kick-ass advice. You're not like, oh, I regret that he cost money because he really helped me. Like he made a huge difference for my home studio. It's
Yeah,
kind of
well,
like,
oh,
right?
sorry.
No, go ahead, David.
Yeah, and this is a tiny investment. I mean, if you hire someone who knows what to listen for, whether it's Edge or hopefully one of us at Edge, but whatever, it's not that much money. And if you gain or even keep one additional client as a result, it is so well worth it. There's a voice actor who I knew many years ago who called me, or I still know her, but she called me many years ago with this question. She said, David, all of a sudden, like my clients are not happy with my files. They're saying they don't sound good. She said, I have the same microphone, the same interface, the same this, the same that. She said, something is up. I don't know what it is, but they're just complaining about my audio. I said, send it over. So I took a listen. And the first thing I heard is like a very pretty, quite a loud low end rumble. And I said, well, yeah, you've got this like in the background. I said, what's going on? She said, oh, well, that explains it. She had moved. She moved apartments in the city and she was over a subway line, but she couldn't hear it. She didn't have headphones that had enough quality to reproduce the low end. So she didn't hear it. I mean, I have good headphones. I heard it. And so she lost clients as a result, or at least had unhappy clients, which, can easily lead to losing a client. It's just not worth it, guys. Have your audio checked. And like Siobhán said, find someone on this group who you can trust, go to them or go to me or do something. But if you have any question mark about your audio, that is the link between you and getting more work. You have to make sure that it sounds good. I told the story a couple of months ago on one of the Ask Me Anything. So I'm going to tell it again. And so I apologize for anyone who's hearing it a second time. But when the pandemic hit about a year and a half ago, we ran into a serious problem at Edge because a lot of the long form narration projects that we were in the midst of recording, when we had to close down, became a real issue because the voice actors who we had been recording in-house in our studios in Times Square in the city, New York City, now had to finish the recordings from their home, but their home studios usually sucked or at least weren't of the same quality as our studios in New York City. And we ran into issues where we'd be 30 hours into a 100-hour training video, for example, and or 30 slides into 1,000 slides, or halfway into a GPS recording, or whatever it might have been. And the client wanted everything, the voice actor to sound consistent from pre-pandemic to post-pandemic. But we didn't, because the voice actor studios really sucked. So that made it very hard for us, for the clients. It was all complicated. So yeah, do what you can to make sure your studio sounds really good, like super good.
And my thing here too, and I think actually the kind of what we feel strongly here at Edge is that you are not alone, and we don't want you to feel alone. I mean, you're alone in your booth, ideally, because you need quiet. But it can be a really lonely endeavor, and keeping community, working with coaches, all of it will emotionally build you up just as much as it will literally get you booking those gigs, which is a good segue to a question Luke is asking. Hi, darling. He says, how do I know if I'm on the right track with my voiceover career? Ooh, I have auditioned for 300 plus roles on both Backstage and Voices.com, and I've gotten 3 roles so far. What do you think?
No, well, I mean, you have to know what your goal is, but if your goal is to get more than 1% of jobs, I would say that you probably want to work with a coach and figure out what's going. Oh, sorry. You want to figure out what's going on with your auditions. There are a lot of voice actors who are wonderfully talented and can take direction really well, but they don't self-direct. And if you don't self-direct your own auditions, then the chance of winning is pretty slim. Then there are also voice actors who are great at self-direction, but their marketing is horrid, so they lose work for that reason. Guys, you have to market in a way that works for your potential client, and you have to send auditions that speaks to them, that resonates with them, and you need to accomplish those 2 tasks, or you won't really get much work. So if you have a question mark as to the your win percentage, then seek a coach. Even if you have one session, I'm going to plug myself again. Have one session with me. Hopefully that will pay off in your career. I know a bunch of people on this call, on the Zoom call, have worked with me in past, so maybe you guys can share some in between thoughts to Luke. Now, some of you might be saying, "Yeah, don't go to David. He sucks. He sucks. He's really bad." But yeah, I mean, if you're going to keep plucking away at this, then you may as well put some investment into it and see if you can get more out of it.
I just want to say it would be specifically diabolical for people to join our Zooms when they think you suck. Like, I'm going to David's Zoom. I don't like that guy.
They're
That's
they're here for like pin the tail on the donkey, like they're throwing darts at their board.
oh boy. Voiceover drama. That would be very funny. So, if I can add to that, what I want to say too is that, Luke, it's often about spinning the wheels, and you have to consider how far you have come. So, you are going
Mm.
to be working on this for a long time, and progress is progress, even if it's not maybe what your immediate ultimate goal of success is. So, you want to be constantly improving and getting better. And there's so many departments of voiceover. How's your home studio? How's your audition technique? How are your editing talents? And we're working, and then you got marketing, you've got your online presence. That's 5 things right there that you need to be growing and developing. And if those are progressing at all in a given year, each of those things, then that does mean to me, according to your question, that you are on the right track. So you've got to think perspective and think about how far you've come and where you are coming from. Some people start voiceover with lots of connections. Some people start voiceover with access to a free home studio. Some people were already engineers and then they got into doing voiceover, right? You know what I mean? So there's different places that you're coming from. So you've got to track your personal progress and not just like, am I a full-time voice actor making, 250,000 a year? I don't know if any voice actors make that much money,
Uh,
but
there are quite a few who do. Um, Siobhán, what you said is so great. Yeah, guys. I mean, I would take to heart Siobhán's words. Um, if you do have a session with someone, me or anyone else, to listen to your work, I would come prepared with a couple of recent auditions. Show me or whoever you work with what the client asked for, and then let me or that person take a listen to them and sort of say, well, yeah, maybe here's a couple of reasons why you didn't win the job, or maybe it was just bad luck. Who knows? So
it's
anyway,
So much stuff. I love this chat. I noticed John's cup, and I was like, I know there's a good cup of something in there, and it's a macchiato. So, and then Tim misses coffee. You guys are the best. Nikita, I do offer workshops on how to use LinkedIn through Edge Studio, and we actually have social media for voice actors is coming back next month, and I'm super excited about it. It's not online yet, but it will be listed. So watch our mailing list and our socials for the class. I will be teaching it on Zoom, and I'm really pumped about that. So come join me. And if you are like, if you don't want to be in a class with 50 people, I also coach through Edge for branding, online presence, and all the social media platforms. So we can pick apart your LinkedIn, and I will make sure that it is not a miserable experience. It'll be fun because weirdly, I enjoy doing that stuff. It's just who I am these days. Okay, Terry, I have an audition. He says, or she. Terry, what a good name. Where's my Terry? Looking for you. There you are. Hi, darling. um, Okay, Terry says, I have an audition for a mattress company, but they didn't send a script. What? Um, Terry, can I unmute you? Yeah, because I want to hear your studio too, because you look really fly there. Yeah. Hi.
Hello.
Can you explain this question to me?
Yeah, so one of my agencies sent over a audition for a large mattress company an audition today, but they usually send scripts, and today they did not send a script. And the agent said they would get back to us, but they never got back. The company never got back to the agent, so they're just taking auditions as they are. So I'm confused as to what I'm supposed to turn in without a script. Do I just go online and find a mattress script and just record that and turn it in?
Yeah, David, what would you do? What would you do here?
Yeah, I would have fun with it. So one question, Terry. Do you have the name of the mattress company?
Yes, I don't want to give it though.
No, no, you don't need to say it. So I would go in, I'd find a really classic mattress commercial, something that people have heard, like a tagline. I can't think of any offhand, but maybe someone in the chat can stick in a famous tagline. Oh, yeah. What was the company that used to say "leave off the S for savings"? Does anyone remember that
Mhm.
commercial?
No. Um,
Huh, too bad. Maybe I dreamed that. No, I think that was a commercial for a while. Leave
you
off
should
the S
copyright
for
that.
anyway. So find like a major brand, Sealy, Posturepedic, I can whatever they are, and record one of their commercials, but change the words around, putting your client's name in place. I would have the client's name pretty soon into the script, like within 2 or 3 seconds. So if the commercial says like for the best mattress around, buy a Sealy's. So let's say the name of your client is Acme, right? You might say at Acme, we don't sell crap mattresses like Sealy's, and then just like kind of reframe their commercial like a Sealy's commercial, and make it funny, because then it's really going to resonate with them. If you can make it humorous, and you seem like the kind of guy who probably could come up with that just from the one or two things you said. You've spoken with a smile, with a laugh in your voice, a giggle. So if you can make it a little funny, I think that would really personalize your audition. You would stand out for sure. I can't imagine that if they, as long as they hear your audition, I can't imagine that they wouldn't take note of it. So that could be cool.
Thank
David,
you.
just as for this prompt, when Terry submits that, should he say in the body of the email like, "Hey, I've just created some copy for an audition. Thanks so much for here." Like, should he say like what do
Yeah,
you?
I'd say, listen to this, because clearly Acme mattress is better than Sealy's. Like, lead them on. That's it, right?
Mm,
That's all you need to say. Listen to this. Clearly Acme is better than Sealy's.
okay.
Okay.
Okay. So in other words, you're not like, "Hey, y'all didn't send me a script, so I made something." Like that's a bad idea. Is
Most people are going to write back and say, "Hey, I never got a script," or they're not going to submit. So, I mean, this is great news for you, Terry, because you figure if the agency is sending it to 50 people, probably 25 are not going to respond right off the bat because there's nothing to respond about. So now you're down to 1 out of 25 rather than 1 out of 50. You've doubled your chance of winning. And then you have to figure that most of those other 25 people are just going to say, "Where's my scripts? I can't record." You might be the only one who submits anything.
I'll take those odds.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Terry, it's great to see you. Thanks for joining us. I love when I unmute the people in their squares. And hey, break a leg on that today.
Break
There,
someone else's leg. No one on this call, but
David, it's the curtain. It's the stage. It's the legs of the curtain.
Oh.
You know that. I mean, maybe you don't, but whatever. Okay, so talking about noise floor. We got John asking about a good noise floor. David, what's your like numbers for like your noise floor experience on?
I've heard some different numbers.
Yeah.
Toward the end of yesterday, I was in a lengthy conversation about 65 decibels being a good noise floor for audiobooks. I thought that was kind of high to me, but I don't know I don't honestly have the best number to be able to share. That I don't know. But ultimately, you want to get your noise floor as low as you can. The conversation I was in yesterday was with 3 other people, and we're trying to find some faster ways to edit audiobooks because we have quite a few at Edge at the moment. And one thing that we communicated to an engineer is that you can take a noise floor track. And let me step back and say this differently. So when you edit an audiobook, which I'm not sure if all of you have done, when you pull out mouth clicks or if the voice actor bumps the microphone, you pull that stuff out. You can't just pull it out and close up the gap where the noise had been, because now the space that was perhaps between 2 sentences is tighter. You want to leave space. So you want to erase things, not delete them. Or I guess I should say erase things, not cut them, not cut it out. But then you're left with a space between words where there's no noise floor. So an engineer we were working with was every time he edited every time he erased something, he would add a bit of noise floor in that same section. But that's so time consuming. So we said, just run a noise floor under the entire audiobook, just from start to finish. And the interesting thing is, and I find this fascinating, when you double the sound of something, it only goes up 3 decibels. Or maybe 6. No, sorry, I don't remember. Someone can look it up perhaps and let us know. When you double the decibels of something, or when you double the noise, the decibel level goes up 3 dB or 6 dB. It's always that 3 or 6 dB. And it's not that audible. So we said, take a noise floor, just record 2 minutes of noise floor and just loop it. And just run it under the entire program, under the entire audiobook. And that's great, because then when you erase something, you don't have to worry about filling in that space. Like the listener won't hear a blank space. So that was sort of interesting. Maybe that's a sidetrack, but it would be interesting if someone doesn't mind looking up, when you double the sound, if you double the sound, does the decibel go up 3 or 6 dB?
Yeah, I mean, because so John was asking, would you say like 55 to 60? I mean, I guess it varies, but does that feel good for you? I mean,
Yeah, that feels very good to me. But there's also the question as to whether or not there's music. I mean, if you're recording something with a lot of music, then you don't need to worry nearly as much about noise floor or low end rumble or anything. And if something is going to be an audiobook where people generally listen on headphones pretty intently, then you really do need to worry about it. So there are some deciding factors.
and sometimes it depends on client. I've had to raise it or lower it depending on the client asking for, various, I don't know. I mean, right? It's so yeah, find what feels good for you and keep that as your standard, I guess. And, I think these numbers, John, feel good to us in this moment. So yes, words of encouragement from Bob. What is up, Bob? Bob is saying, yep, we got COVID numbers, possibly upticking. Who knows? Crossing our fingers. But is Edge going to open the doors in 2022?
I hope so. I can't, like last year I would have said I hope we'd open in 2021. So I don't know. We are running recordings that have to be run in person right now, but 95% of our staff is working from home still. So I don't want to say I don't know. Maybe something comes back, maybe COVID goes away, maybe something else takes COVID's place. I can't speculate, but all I can say is the moment we can open up, like fully open up, I'll be the first one in those doors. It's been a long time since I've been at Edge Studio.
And with some vegetables from your garden, right?
Depends on the season. Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay. So here we go. Oh, from Myron. David, as a service, do we offer the the ability to listen to a demo and hear a talent's direction and sweet spot and wheelhouse. And are we able to guide a talent on which agents to contact based on their strengths?
No. I mean, I could do that, and a number of our coaches could do that, but we don't. We don't. Um, Something that we have never done at Edge is refer any voice actor to a specific agent, because we deal with a lot of agents on our production and casting end. So we can't play any favorites or anything like that. So we will not make any specific recommendations. However, what we can do is listen to your demo and say, it sounds like you're really good at this genre or that genre. You're really good at upbeat commercials. Or you could do a good kid's voice, whatever it might be. And I would encourage you to seek out agents that specialize in this area or focus on that area. That I can do.
That's a good honest response. Yeah, it's I mean, and it's also like we can't be like, oh, this agent will definitely take you on. That's just not something we're able to do as well. But it's a good question, and I appreciate the inquiry. So we've got Amy, with the pandemic forcing more auditions to be done and recorded at home. David, do you see that as more of a norm moving forward?
It was the norm before the pandemic. Like really, it was so rare that we had auditions in person. Incredibly rare, pre-pandemic. And so I assume it will stay like it is now. I can't imagine it reversing.
Uh, do you think that more and more jobs will be recorded from home in the coming years?
It was like that pre-pandemic. Yeah. I mean, the amount of work in the voiceover field is continuing to increase, which is great. So I would assuming that it continues to increase, I assume that more work will be done from home studios. The only reason studios like ours exists are for jobs, recordings that can't be done in a voice actor's home studio. A lot of our studios are large enough to accommodate multiple people. We have one room that can hold about 30 people, one room that can hold about 15 people. And so if you're dealing with a large agency who brings the commercial team and the video editors and the sound editors and the directors and the copywriters and the celebrity voice actors and all kinds of people, that can't happen at any home studio. So that's one of the big reasons why we exist. We also exist for celebrities who have to record on the fly, or politicians who don't have home studio. Anyone has to record who doesn't have a home studio. Sometimes it's the CEO who just needs to record a holiday greeting, something like that. Or we exist for very complex projects, like extremely complex projects. We get projects that can take us 6 months, 8 months to put out with multiple people working on it, because there's so many modules and volumes of work, and we translate it into multiple languages and then localize the words. I mean, this stuff can't be done at home studios. But outside of that, just about everything is done at home studios these days. It was before the pandemic, and I'm sure it will. I really assume it will remain that way after the pandemic.
I want to read this endorsement of you from Dina in the chat, David, which says, David is only a great coach if you want straight up evaluation and honest feedback. If you want sunshine blown up your skirt, you might want to look elsewhere.
Sunshine blown up your skirt. Hi, Dina. Sorry.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing I want on LinkedIn. I love to see it. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, thank you. We have people asking about, okay, so I can look at your LinkedIn for a coaching session, but I can't do it of my own volition. But we can pick apart your LinkedIn in an hour that you book through Edge Studio. So, from Amanda, do you have tips on how to, okay, this is a standard, but all right, let's do it. Let's last one of 2021. David, what are your, top tips on how to cheaply start out your home studio?
This answer has changed over the years because home studios are so cheap these days. You go back 10 years ago, you needed to buy you couldn't trust a USB microphone, and software was expensive. And I mean, things are so cheap these days, guys. You don't need to spend that much money. You can get a relatively good professional sounding USB microphone for about $150. You figure a music stand for $20 or $30. Get a good music stand, by the way, one with rubber feet to stop the resonation through the stand and everything. But $30 for a music stand, $30 for a good filter. So let's say $200 for the mic setup. You can get Audacity software for free to record on, which is great software. You can use, sorry, I keep hitting the mic. I'm not sure if that's loud for you guys or not. You can use moving blankets and old sweaters and sleeping bags on your walls and on your ceiling for acoustic treatment. And so you're really not spending any money. You need good headphones. I'd spend at least $100 on good headphones. In fact, I gave the story earlier today about the voice actor who did not have good headphones and didn't hear that there was a low end rumble in her recordings. So if she lost one client, it would not have been worth the $100 headphones. So yeah, you can get by for like $300. I mean, that's it. That is cheap. That's super cheap. The barrier to entry is from the home studio side is minimal.
It is, but I'm currently upgrading mine and I am spending some dollars. So,
Yeah, but it's a fine place to start though.
yeah, it's a very
In
good
time,
point.
you might end up upgrading. Sure, you can upgrade all the way. You can build soundproofed walls and or anything in between. But you can start with $300, $400 comfortably and have a pretty darn good sounding studio. The most important thing to your studio is the space. That is so much more important than the quality of the equipment. The best microphone in a bad sounding recording space sounds horrible. Really horrible. Okay, so $1,000 microphone in the middle of your kitchen, you'll never get work. It just won't happen. It's more important to spend time and thought and if anything, money on the acoustic treatment of your space rather than the microphone.
That's such an important thing to remember. Super important. And it pairs with like where you physically are. Like I have friends in the Hollywood Hills out here who is quiet. It's just actually quiet outside, right? But if I'm in central LA, and that's a lot of, it's loud where I am. So these are also factors into your space, and like I might need more of an upgrade than someone is going to need in a genuinely quieter space. So these are all things to think about. And remembering what David said too, I think is part of what we want to really impart on you for all my folks just starting out. Do not get overwhelmed. Like, how am I going to spend, I got to drop $5,000 right now. Like a place to start, as David is saying, is affordable, and you are starting. And look, I was talking about progress before. You have to start somewhere. So don't let like your perfect dreams of a home studio stop you from beginning somewhere, and with the plan to progress over time. So sound advice once again, Alexandra. Can you guys explain a narration demo? I mean, everything is technically narration, but how do I choose scripts for a narration demo? Which I'm doing with Edge, by the way. We love to see that. David, what is a narration demo?
Yeah, it really is confusing. I've never liked the word narration demo because you're right. Everything you record, you are narrating. You narrate a commercial. So first, a little side note. A verb that I never liked in this industry is do. It's always bothered me when voice actors say, I do voiceover, I do commercials. We get a lot of emails from people saying, hey, hire me. I do voiceovers, I do commercials, I do narrations, I do medical corporate training videos. You don't do these things. If anything, you narrate them. You make the script sound great, whatever. You use something pleasant sounding. So yes, you are not doing things, you are narrating. So narrate does encapsulate every single thing that you record. But the word narration also means a very normal way of speaking into a microphone. And that's the complexity or the ambiguity of this word. So narration means to narrate something, but again, it also means to record a style of voiceover, which is based upon natural conversation. So with that said, the entire voiceover industry is broken up into about 25 different categories, or we call them genres. Documentary is a genre, audiobooks, commercial, cartoons, video games, apps, corporate training, e-learning, and museum tours, and so on. So there are about 25 different genres of voiceover. And about 20 of those genres are based on a natural way of speaking. Those 20 genres can all go onto a narration demo. There are just a handful of genres which have a unique, they either have a unique way of speaking or a unique way of delivering the copy or a unique way of interpreting the copy. And so those 5 or 6 genres get their own demo. So commercials are one of those genres. To be able to sell something, to tell a story and sell something in 15 seconds, it takes an extra skill set. So usually commercials do not fit onto a narration demo. Audiobooks, they take an immense amount of stamina and consistency and character development and focus, emotional and physical focus. And for all of these, and you're telling the story, and for all of these reasons, audiobooks also don't go onto a narration demo. They also get their own demo, an audiobook demo. Promos and trailers have such a unique way of conveying the copy, the script, that they too get their own demo. And character and animation work also are so unique. They're not a natural way of speaking. You need certain skills, special skills, to be able to narrate them. So they also get their own narration, their own demo. But outside of those genres, outside of commercial, audiobook, character, animation, promos, trailers, maybe there's 1 or 2 others I'm not thinking of at the moment. Everything else is based generally on a natural way of speaking. And so they all fall under the heading of narration. And so about 20 genres can fit onto a narration demo. And that makes it really hard to put together a narration demo, because you may want a snippet of a telephony system and a snippet of a corporate training video and a snippet of a museum tour. Narration demos are all over the place. And I've often advocated for voice actors to not have narration demos, but instead to have specific genre demos. But the narration demo has been like, it's just so common, so ironclad in the industry that people, casting teams sort of look forward to a narration demo. So they still exist. They're still popular. And in fact, the typical voice actor will even begin their career with a commercial and a narration demo. So hopefully that sheds some light on what a narration demo is.
Thank you for that in-depth explanation, David. And I agree. It's funny because like when I started working in this industry, I was like, wait, you have an audiobook demo and a narration demo? Because aren't audiobook narrators?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they are, and they identify the way I'm narrator, right? But you're doing, corporate narration. That's not an audiobook. Well, I suppose there could, I don't know, but yes, it's a whole different thing, and it's separate from your commercial work, absolutely. And we will help you suss all of that out. And it's a whole lot of things. So someone was asking, I think it was Nikita, if you can request specific coaches at Edge, and you absolutely can. You can request anyone at all you want to work with on our list of people, and you can start commercial coaching. We have excellent, excellent coaches for this. Okay. Blah blah blah. Okay. So Mr. Smith, hello. He says, with my voice, I have the ability to have low register with my regular voice, and even lower register if I want to, i.e. Ving Rhames, Arby's, we have the meats. How do I know which one to use if it doesn't say in the audition request? You're talking low versus lower, I think.
Yeah. Well, look, use your analysis skills to interpret the copy and think what the client probably wants. Do some research. Look online at previous commercials the company has put out, get a handle on the company. If you can, ask the client or ask the casting team or the agent if you have that ability. But if it's coming through an online casting site, you can't necessarily do that, of course. You can give multiple takes. You could say at the beginning of your audition, you could say, take 1 in a regular register, take 2 in a lower register. That's sort of engaging and might prompt someone to listen further through. So they listen to take 1 and then they listen to take 2. I always think it's a good thing to state upfront in a slate that there are 2 takes that follow, so the team knows to listen to the second one, or otherwise they get to the end of the first one and they will hit stop. So yeah, just those are some ideas.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's great if you can go so low. I would encourage you to have 2 demos. If you have a demo that's called super low register commercial demo or something like that, that's engaging, and that may prompt someone to listen to it.
Mm, mm. And I think too, everything is like ubiquitous or not ubiquitous, but it's sort of like what vocal quality feels right for the auditions you're submitting, and that's how you are interpreting the script in your best way and in the way that you stand out. That's going to factor in as well. Roberta says that I do not have the right space and I can't create it in my current situation. I understand current situations. Boy, I get it. She says, I do a lot of good work in post. Currently, I podcast and I want to start focusing on voiceover, but I'm hesitant to do my own demos because of all the reasons. Should I just try making my own demos on my own? What kind of first steps do you recommend, David?
Without question, that is a great question. And without question, have your audio checked by someone. Because if you spend all the time putting together a commercial demo that has not a good sound quality to it, then you're not going to get work anyway. So that's sort of a waste of time. So send it over to me or someone else that you trust, someone else who you trust, and get some feedback on your audio. I find it difficult to imagine that you can't treat the space that you're in, because even if you have to record in the middle of your kitchen, you can treat the space. There's a simple way that a simple technique that a lot of voice actors use when they're in a space, I think, that sounds like yours, and that is you stand on a thick piece of carpeting, even if you have to roll it up when you're done recording, and you hang a thick ass blanket on the ceiling above you. Okay, so you just nail it into the wall, right? Just tap. I'm trying to get my hands on the screen. Like tap 4 nails into 4 corners of the ceiling with a blanket that kind of droops down. Okay, just let it droop down. A thick blanket, like a sleeping bag or moving blanket, even 2 or 3 blankets would be optimal, letting each one droop another inch lower than the next. Then around you, you buy one of the shower curtains for a circular shower, and you just put the track on your ceiling. And instead of hanging a shower, oh, sorry about the microphone. Instead of hanging a shower curtain, you hang a moving blanket, or you buy an acoustic blanket. And so when you go to record, you just kind of wrap this blanket around you. And when you're done recording, you unwrap the blanket, and there you go. And you'll have a great sounding space in the middle of a kitchen. It can work.
So I think that's a really good point. Also, Roberta said that I did a really good impression of her when I read her thing, and I just want to thank you for acknowledging it. Yeah, thank you everyone. But yeah, I appreciate that too. David, it's kind of, I was speaking in a lot of wide terms today, but it's like when he said, I find it hard to believe that you cannot treat your space. I just feel like that's a good motivational thing for us all to remember. Like there, we are never stuck. We can always do something. There is possibility to improve, even if it feels hopeless or, not possible. I also want to say another thing is that I personally, depending on, I mean, it does sound like you have engineers' talents and things, but I personally believe strongly in not recording your own demos. I believe in working with a coach and having them be produced by professionals. It is going to be way less stress for you, and you're going to have the assertion and the confidence that your work, that what you're putting out there is competitive and not like maybe this is fine. Like that's not how you want to present yourself to the world. So investing in training to demo and to production is so worth it for your voiceover career. I really I want to just encourage that for everyone. Wherever you do it, work with people who know what they're doing and take that burden off of yourself. Yes, it's financial, but boy, it's really worth it because this is how you present, you know. And I think now this investing in the demo is probably what I'll have to suck up and do. Yeah, Roberta, she's right there. Yeah, a
Hey,
lot of it.
sorry, quick story. My younger son, Harrison, had this terrific a voiceover audition, and I may have some influence on helping him get the audition. But beside that, he still has to record, and the client still has to like his voice. We had just gotten a little puppy. This is a number of months ago. He did not want to leave the puppy's side. So when I said at some point in the night, like, before you go to bed, it's a school night, like we have to get this recording going, and it's going to take us a half hour. It was a rather long audition. he wouldn't go downstairs into my office, where I am right now is not really set up like a studio, but I have acoustic panels in front of me. I've pointed out before to some of the previous Ask Me Anythings that I have couch pillows. When I have calls, I put these couch cushions on the side of me, right from the kid's couch, just to like dampen the sound, whatever I can do, because I'm not in a studio. So now I'm faced with recording my son upstairs in the living room with a little puppy, thinking, well, how can I get this to sound good? I built the coolest pillow fort ever. Like I didn't want to take it down when we were done. My son and I were in this like gigantic fort of all, like we took every cushion off of every couch in the house, even like the long part that you sit on, and we made structures of it, put a top on it. It was really dark inside. We brought a little lamp inside. It was really fun. Um, so you can do it wherever you have to. Oh, something else too, another story about recording and making do with wherever you are. There was a rather large voiceover conference I went to about 4 years ago. And this conference has happened every year. And this time the conference was at a different hotel. And there were about 600 or 700 voice actors. And the rooms are really nice, like super nice. Nice hardwood floors and spacious and big windows, really beautiful place. And the first morning, where the conference happened on day one, everyone went to bed, everyone came down for breakfast the next morning, and everyone was complaining. Because the hotel was so nice, it had hardwood floors, which meant all the voice actors couldn't record because they were getting too much resonance in their recordings. Previously, the conference had been at a hotel that had carpeted floors. So it turns out that so many voice actors called the front desk and said, do you have extra mattresses? Do you have extra pillows, extra blankets, anything? And they ran out of stock. So voice actors started eventually making teepees. I don't know if some of you are familiar with the recording teepee, but you take the blanket from your mattress and you lay it on the floor because you don't have carpeting. You take the mattress from the bed, or if you have two beds in the room, it's ideal. You build like a teepee like this. You throw a blanket on top, sort of like a pillow fort, and then you record in there. And lots of voice actors said they had to make the voiceover teepee to record it. You have to make it happen wherever you are. If you don't have a space for recording, it's okay. Figure out the best way to do it. Get the best sound you can.
I just want to say, I was like, as David was talking, I was like, oh wow, wouldn't it be so cool if you were like, raised by an audio engineer and you got to play? I mean, that just seems really like a fun time. So, you got lucky kids, David. They get to hang out with you. I want to do one more question. Okay, there was a really good question actually that I appreciate for folks who are new and they're going to record their first demo and their voice is suitable for a commercial and narration. As ideally everybody can do both of those things. David, for your first demo, should you do commercial or narration? Which one should you do?
You should do wherever you want your career path to go. There is this fixation on having to have a commercial demo, and it's very popular, but you don't have to have a commercial demo. If your focus is just to record documentaries, then don't even have a narration demo, just have a documentary demo. If your goal is to record audiobooks, just have an audiobook demo. You don't have to do everything. You don't have to begin your career offering everything to everyone. You can specialize in something, right? You don't have to open like a department store that sells a bit of everything. You can open up a specialty store and sell just one thing. That's fine. Just offer one service. And if you prefer to offer narration style work like corporate training videos and compliance videos and e-learning and all the forms of the industry where you use more of a natural voice, then have a narration demo. That's great. And if you want commercial work, then have a commercial demo. I said earlier, I repeat, most voice actors begin with a commercial and a narration demo, but it is not necessary to do that.
It's up to you. I mean, we're going to say this a lot. I can tell you personally, when I came into voiceover, I started with commercial, really because it was like shorter spots. And I felt that I could start with shorter pieces of text and learn about my breath support. I'm coming from like being stage actor where you memorize everything, and I found that my breathing is really different when I'm off book, as we say, and that when I'm reading, I'm it's different for me. I had to kind of relearn how to like really perform this stuff well. And so I started with commercial because it was shorter pieces of text that I felt more confident and comfortable with. And narration gets a little longer and chunkier, and you got paragraphs sometimes and that sort of thing. So that's what I chose to do. But I did do them pretty quickly back to back because I was just like in investing and training mode. So I mean, people will have different experiences on what feels good for their journey. Some people are way more excited about narration, and that speaks to them more. I can tell you that I prefer it, and that's actually I've never gotten a commercial job. Those are the kinds of jobs I get actually, or narration. So, that's it's just things to think about for you, that what feels good and that you're excited. Yay, we're so glad. Um, okay, so one more. Oh, we've got 5 minutes left. Quickly, David,
Well,
you use Slate when you submit an audition.
sometimes yes, sometimes no. It's great when a client says what they want. It's so nice. But unfortunately, clients often don't say. And I think that if you are not sure, well, first of all, I cannot stress this enough. Do what the client says and do it the way the client says to do it. It blows my mind how many voice actors don't do what I just said. If we send out an audition and we say Slate, first initial, last name, for example, or Slate, job EP5, at least, without exaggeration, at least a third of the auditions that come in will not be slated correctly. It astounds me every single day how many auditions are not slated correctly. So if you're given slating instructions, do what they say. A big one is when the client will say slate, and then they say put the slate at the end. So often voice actors still put it at the beginning. I don't know if they just want their name up front or they are so like it's a knee-jerk reaction to stick the slate in the beginning, but whatever the case, yeah, I would have someone else review the direction from the client and then make sure you've done everything correctly. That said, if there's no instructions regarding slating, if you can, I'd put a slate in there. I think it's nice, but only if you slate well. And most people don't even slate well when it is that they do slate. They usually say their name with an upward inflection and they say it too quickly. All that shows is that you can't pronounce your own name or communicate it well, and you're hesitant. You're not confident about it. You should say your first name declaratively and slowly, clearly, just like it's a commercial. I mean, guys, this is your one chance to brand yourself, to brand your name. So make it super clear. So instead of saying, this is David Goldberg, you'd say David Goldberg. It makes a big difference. Show confidence in it, say it clearly.
Confidence.
And keep it short, please. No, hey, hi, thanks for the audition. Happy to audition for you. Hope you like what I hear or what you hear. Give me a call. Here's my number. I'm a Zodiac. We don't need any other garbage. Keep it as short as you can. Earlier, someone asked about having two takes, of a low take and a lower take. I said, great, just say, it was probably no more than 10 words. I said, following are two takes, regular register and lower. That's it. As succinctly as possible, get to your slate.
There we go, as succinctly as possible. And if you're not confident, that's why we're called actors. Sometimes we just act like we are. Y'all, so we are wrapping this up, and we've got a few prompts that I want to respond to. People were asking about private coaching. You can book a coaching session here at Edge Studio, and someone will reach out to you to book it and schedule it, and you can request a coach at that point in time. If you have never coached with Edge Studio, if you just use the code AMA, you can get $25 off of that coaching session. I also want to tell you about a class that is coming up, which is Voiceover Resolutions with Tom Deere. And so this is all about getting yourself organized and setting some goals and making things happen next year, and how we make our goals into realities. Oof, that's often stresses me out, and that's why I need help. So we got this. Okay, so my people, additionally, IVO. And if you were trying to like get this started and you're like, I don't know like what to do, first steps, I'm like totally new to the world of voiceover. The Investigate Voiceover class is where you should is a bad word, where you ought to begin with us if you want to work with us. I don't want to tell you what you should or shouldn't do, but here at Edge, we do offer an IVO class, which is 3 hours with the coach walking you through the journey of your beginning steps here in voiceover, and it's totally worth it. And you get a feedback evaluation, super fun times. I think that those are all the things. Oh, my class is December 9th. It is not online yet because of reasons, but it's gonna come. So mark your calendars and watch for our socials and our feedback. As always, I appreciate you being here with us once again. Drop some love in the chat. Let me know, if you'll be with us on December 2nd. That's when we are doing this again. And John, it's so great to see you. Appreciate having you. Because of reasons, you took my line. Got you, Roberta. David, any closing remarks?
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yeah.
Eat up.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Be safe if you're traveling. If you're not traveling, cook a lot of things. Yeah. It's great to see everyone, and we appreciate having you. And we'll be back on December 2nd at the same time. And thank you. Till next time. Thank you. Great to see you, John, Dina,
And
Tom.
thank you, Siobhán.
Oh, yeah. Appreciate
Thank
you,
you.
David, as always.
Thank you all.
Please have a great holiday. Micah, Howard, have a great rest of your evening, afternoon. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Goodbye, magic. Goodbye, Alexandra. Take care. Bye.